Welcome. We are at the City Hall Council Chambers at 10 West State Street. Today's date's November 14, 2022. The time's 5:30 p.m., a regularly scheduled time for the City Council to meet. We call the meeting to order with this notice that the Mayor and City Council welcome comments from the public during discussion of the items on the agenda. You have to step to the mic, state your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less so others may be given a similar opportunity. Speak clearly, direct your comments to the mayor and council in general and not to any councilor specifically. It's at the discretion of the mayor and the council to respond to specific questions and comments or to have staff respond during the meeting. Would those who are able please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is a good thing I don't have to talk for a living. Let's do the roll call.
Hoop.
Here.
Isom.
Here.
Kell.
Here.
Lottie-Hoff.
Here.
Schneider. Thompson.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Declare quorum. It's time for any councilors or the city administrator to make any comments. Anybody from the council? Okay. Madam Administrator?
None, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make two. One, it was, we just got back late last night from Wyoming. It was interesting to get caught up on the papers and see that there was another cleanup downtown and that it included a person from Ukraine. And so, Mike Lottie-Hoff, I just got to tell you, both of those endeavors you've got going, cleaning up the city and helping the families relocate here, that's just pretty special.
Actually, Your Honor, that was put on by the CBD, and they just invited me. So we had a good crowd, got done quick. It seems like people are maybe either picking up a lot better or the wind's just blowing that much harder. So
it was only 3 degrees out in Wyoming, by the way, so it's coming, I got to tell you. Okay, and then the other one's kind of a fun announcement of an award that the city got, and so I would like to make these comments about it. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, which is abbreviated GFOA, awarded a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the city for its annual comprehensive financial report for the year ending June 30, 2021. The city has received this award consecutively since 1993. This certificate is a prestigious national award recognizing conformance with the highest standards for preparation of state and local government financial reports. In order to be awarded a certificate of achievement, a government unit like ours must publish an easily readable and efficiently organized annual comprehensive financial report. This report must satisfy both generally accepted accounting principles and applicable legal requirements. It makes sense for us to ask our Finance Director, Diana Steiner, to come forward, please. I got it. Thank you. Appreciate what you do. Okay.
I just need to thank my team, my finance team, Brian DeMoss, Tanya Hudnut, Jamie Cripps, and Deb Trickey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, time to ask for approval of the consent agenda, but before I do that, we have to pull quite a few items tonight. Items 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 15, which makes me sense this meeting will go about another 30 hours tonight. 30 minutes, I'm sorry. With those pulled, would anybody like to move that we approve that?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call it is.
Thompson.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Kell.
Yes.
Lottie-Hoff.
Yes.
Very good. For those that haven't been checked off the list, could you read those?
Approve the minutes for the October 24th, 2022 meeting and a bill list amount of $3,326,800. Approve liquor license renewal for Eastside Liquor and Grocery at 1116 East Nevada Street with ownership updates. Approve the August 2022 financial statements. Resolution 2022-293 approving lease agreement between the City of Marshalltown, Iowa and the Marshalltown Softball Association, Inc. Resolution 2022-294 authorizing the use of council designated local option sales tax for stump removal and ash tree removal from city parks and right-of-way. Resolution 2022-300 setting a public hearing for the Marshalltown Community Development and Housing Needs Assessment and review of application for HUD Community Development Block Grant Derecho Disaster Funds. Resolution 2022-301 setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with Marshalltown Central Business District, Inc., including annual appropriation tax increment payments for the facade improvement program. Resolution 2022-303 approving contract change order number 4 for the Edgewood Extension Project number STR 19003, a decrease of $123,747.11. Resolution 2022-304 approving the fiscal year 2022 annual urban renewal report for the City of Marshalltown.
Thank you. And then what is number 5 in case somebody wants to move for its approval?
Resolution 2022-292 approving a lease agreement with the Marshalltown Community School District for the use of land as a city park.
Floor is open for motion.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion.
Your Honor, if I may.
Hey.
I brought up the fact that we've got to make some hard decisions, either this council or future councils. We cannot maintain the number of parks we have in town adequately. This is a perfect starting place to not renew this lease and let the school district have this land back. Even though there's no dollar figure on the lease, it's still going to cost us to maintain it, and then $100,000 to revamp it is what our budget is, one park a year for 10 years. And the life of equipment, the Park and Rec Director said, is about 10 years. So I'm seeing this as a perfect opportunity to start paring down the number of parks. So I'll be voting no on this. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other discussion up here? Any public comment? Roll call.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker.
Yes.
Very good. And number 8?
Resolution 2022-295 authorizing the City of Marshalltown to request assignment of a tax certificate for 411 West Lynn Street, parcel number 841835105006, held by Marshall County.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And discussion? Here?
Your Honor.
You bet.
Question for the city administrator. If we don't get the grant, will we be flipping this lot like we flipped all the other vacant lots?
Yes, that would be the intention. I think just thinking about this being fairly close to the location of the second library house on Lynn Street, that I do believe that there'd be a use for it, if not for the grant program that we're interested in.
If that's the case, why don't we just sell it to the Friends of the Library for $1 and be done with it and get the house moved so they can get going on their storage building for the bookmobile?
At this point, I would like to keep it as part of our grant application because I think that is an option that certainly, it's a lot that is meeting the criteria we need for being able to move a modular home there as part of the grant. So I would keep that as a second option, but I would keep the grant as our first option.
Okay, thank you. I talked to a few people, and in my opinion and their opinions, city government should not be in competition with the private sector. I don't think this grant, us utilizing the grant for developing properties, is the right thing to do. I think we're competing with private entities. So I'm against this and the other purchases of property for us to be a developer. If other developers want to pursue these grants, you made it clear that they could go through Region 6. And I'd like to see that happen versus us being a developer and competing with the private enterprise system. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Any other council wish to comment?
Just one question on that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, has the Friends of the Library come to us about a move of a second house, or is that speculation?
I would say that's pure speculation at this point. That conversation about moving a house initiated with a private developer, who we do have a development agreement with with 406 West Lynn Street at this point. He has not expressed an interest in the other one at this point.
Thank you.
Other council comment or questions? Public comment? Roll call.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff.
Yes.
Okay, that carried as well. On to, we're skipping 9 and 10 pulled by staff, but number 11 was pulled by council.
We can do 9 and 10 in the order of the agenda.
Oh, we can?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the same thing, yeah.
okay.
Resolution 2022-296, approving the purchase of 8 North Fifth Avenue.
Floor is open for a motion.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Discussion? Second, I'm sorry.
Second.
And discussion.
Yes, I wanted to pull this one off the consent agenda because we did receive language from Iowa Economic Development Authority today about what HUD would like to see in any purchase agreement related to defining site control for the purpose of the grant. And so what you have before you on your desk today is a revised agreement that has also been sent to Unity Point Health that does include very specific language that has been requested by IEDA via HUD. And so that is the purpose for pulling both number 9 and number 10, was to ensure that this was a language change that really didn't change much of the language that we had in there. We just had more specifics, but provided exactly what HUD wants to see in these agreements.
Okay, does that generate any questions or comments up here?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I just want to say I'm against this for the same reason, buying property to become a property development company. Thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else up here? Anybody out there? Roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Okay,
that carried. On number 11.
number 10.
Okay.
Resolution 2022-297, approving the purchase of parcel 831810279004 in the 2500 block of South 6th Street.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Discussion.
The one thing you don't have before you tonight is a revised agreement on this one, but I did get an email back from the broker who said that this language could be added to Section 27 of the agreement, which is other provisions. So this will be updated to include that HUD-required language.
Thank you. Questions or comments by council?
Your Honor, once again, this one, again, the city is buying property to become a developer of land, but this one's a little different. This one, we're going to pay taxpayers' money to spend $300,000 to put sanitary sewers in for 4 houses. So that breaks down to $75,000 per house. I'm sure there's a lot of people in town that are still on septic systems that would love to have the city come in and spend $75,000 to put sanitary sewers into their houses. The developer doesn't want to develop this land because it's not cost effective. But yet, we're asking you, the taxpayers, to develop this land at a cost that is astronomical. If a private developer wants to develop this, let them buy it from the other developer. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anybody else up here like to speak? Anybody from the public like to speak? Roll call.
Walker,
No.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
That carried as well. On to, if my numbering system is right, number 11.
Yes. Resolution 2022-298, approving a quitclaim deed to establish city ownership of a vacated alley.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Second. anywhere?
Your Honor.
No, is there a second? I
Second.
didn't hear one. Second? Okay, good. Now discussion. Yes, sir.
Two questions for the city administrator. You brought to the council's attention that legal advised you not to sell anything, not to allow us to sell anything for $1, but yet we're selling this vacated alley for $1 to this property owner. I'm curious as the contradiction on this one.
This is actually cleaning up an issue from 1953. The city actually did convey the alley to the owner of 918 South 11th Avenue in 1953, and we have record of that. It appears that the practice at the time was to give the purchaser the quitclaim deed to record, and they were one of multiple purchasers on this deal, and they were the only ones who didn't record a deed. And so we have good reason to believe that a payment did exist back in 1953 based on the other transfers that did occur with this same resolution. All of those documents are in your packet, and we provided those for the historical sense because it doesn't really make sense, but we are trying to clean up unknown parcels throughout the community where we do have a history.
And I do agree with that. I mean, I support selling it for $1, but there's one line in your memo that concerns me. This almost seems like a precursor to the alleys that exist overlaying the creek between May Street and Anson Street. And I'm worried that we're going to do the same thing there and then try and strong arm those residents to clean up that creek themselves.
That's not related to this item. There will be something coming forward to a future council meeting related to a quitclaim deed establishing ownership of that, and we'll provide the historical documents for that one at the same time.
I had trouble making that germane myself.
No, I'm just saying her line in the memo, Your Honor, saying there are more to follow in this pattern.
Okay. Anyone else have any comment up here? Public have any comment? Roll call.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
That carried as well. Number 12.
Resolution 2022-299, setting a public hearing for the conveyance and transfer of title to a portion of vacated but unconveyed alley to 918 South 11th Avenue.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Your Honor, I pulled this one because it had to be pulled with 11. Since the council voted to approve 11, there's no reason for me to talk on this one.
Agreed. Any discussion up here or out there? Roll call.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Okay, that carried. On to the last one, number 15 that was pulled.
Resolution 2022-302, approving amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement with WHKS & Co. for the commercial demolition plan and specification preparation and observation and testing.
Any motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Mr. Walker?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
Just a question for the city administrator. Lansing had the contract on 101, and there was a due date. I just need a little background on how that got missed and what's the repercussions of that besides this $20,000 payment to WHKS.
Liquidated damages are accruing on that contract because you are correct that the due date of July 30th was missed. We're still awaiting a demolition plan to be submitted. Everything looks like he will still complete the demolition, and we will be working on essentially what liquidated damages look like based on whenever that completion date comes.
So you truly believe that Lansing will tear down the Purple Cherry building?
At this point in time, I have nothing to tell me otherwise.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Other discussion up here at the council days or out there? Roll call on this one, too.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
That carried as well. On to the next item, which is reports. Looks like we have one of those. What's that about?
It's a tourism update from John Hall, the CEO of the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Hall with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined by Andrew Potter as well. We're going to start with our This is Marshalltown video, if it all works. Looking at the city administrator, hopefully. And then we'll jump into our report.
From a family perspective, there's a ton of things for our kids to be doing. Our parks are fantastic. We spend a lot of time outside in the parks. Little league fields are great. The soccer fields are great. We like to golf. You know, for a golfer to be in a community that has 4 golf courses, you don't see that very often. As a golfer, I love that.
Here on the trail, I like it that it's not just for like experts, it's also like it can be for beginners. We have, you know, just flat areas where people can just walk, and then we have like hilly areas on the trail. If you just want to walk it downtown, it's different, like sightseeing. You could take pictures with all the murals here in town, and I love that too. Like, you still got that urban vibe in a small town.
To me, art is a universal language. We know it's in culture is what makes us everybody unique. And at the same time, it's the way I see it is it brings us together. It's really a community effort, and seeing this happening and the people that's behind it and the support, and we're very fortunate. So embracing that culture in a way that everybody feels included, to me that is one of the greatest assets we have in Marshalltown.
From a business perspective, the people here, you just can't beat them. I love working with people who value relationships. They are here for each other. I mean, you've seen the way that this community responds. The last 4 or 5 years when tragedies have happened, they come together, but that's just our natural way of living here is just a community that wants to do life together, do business together, and so from a business perspective, it was fantastic. But then when I think about where I want to raise my kids, I want to raise my kids in a place that lives diversity. It's not just a buzzword like a lot of places. It's a real thing here.
It was a really important decision when we decided to move to town. We both grew up on the farm, and we weren't sure how we would enjoy living in town, and we experienced the feeling of a community almost immediately when we did. We realized that the kids were finding connections in the community that surpassed what we could find living out in the middle of the country. So we ended up falling in love with where we are very quickly.
Excuse me, John. Your Honor, can I ask a quick question about the video real quick?
Sure.
Andrew, do you have to stick out your tongue to throw a football?
I was not supposed to be in the video. I was entertaining my kids on the side. My kids were supposed to be in the video, and for some reason they took me, and I didn't edit it out. Next time I will edit myself out, so thank you. But yes, I am Michael Jordan of the video world. Thank you. Yes, my kid was playing soccer and broke his wrist in that soccer on the futsal courts while he was playing soccer. So I have a lot of guilt watching that video, by the way. So, yeah,
I'm told that Tyler Pashong, who is in the video, actually could at one time throw a football.
Oh yeah, he's had a couple records there. But okay, so enough about me. So we're going to move on to a little update. It's been a while since we've presented to the council, but we're going to talk a few things about what's been going on in the past several months in our office. We promote Marshalltown as a site for conferences and meetings. So I meet with different meeting planners, hotel general managers, statewide association. This is a class reunion group that came, and we did a city tour with them. So provided hospitality items and goodie bags, and just try to welcome the groups here and try to bring the groups have good experiences so they come back to Marshalltown. And community marketing is something that the city wanted us to really step up lately, and we have with that video. That 3-minute video, we work with an outside marketing firm. We reached more than 40,000 people on the chamber social media alone, and then we've also kind of done some paid advertising to get that video out there. It's displayed at the Iowa State Fair. It was a few other places as well. John's going to talk about some other community marketing we've been doing with Livability Marshalltown. So.
And one thing I'd mention on that video is we do own all of the footage from that day, from the filming, so we're able to build on it kind of on an annual basis. One other piece on the community marketing front that we wanted to talk about was the Livability magazine that came out this year. I believe you all have seen it. I know they're available here at the council chambers, and Andrew brought a few more. But this is a partnership that we engaged with Livability on, really because of the quality of their product as well as the presence of their online portfolio for communities. And so we were able to engage with them. It's a no-cost thing to our organization, so it's entirely ad revenue funded. We did purchase an ad, so we had a little bit of cost, and there's a little cost sharing or profit sharing, on that as well. So our cost came down, but the distribution of this has been very tremendous. We're happy for the storytelling that is a component of this. So often in community brochures or community magazines, you see displays of information. But anymore, folks are looking for the storytelling component more than just the raw information. They know where to search for information. What they're looking for is a way for that information to come alive. And so we're happy with the partnership on Livability. We are beginning the second issue now. Andrew's working through what that looks like, and that'll be released then next summer.
More community marketing. We invited some travel bloggers into Marshalltown over the summer. One was from Des Moines Parent Blog. One was the Dining Duster from Minnesota, and one was Midwest Millennial. She was from North Dakota, I believe. But they came and they did some blogs and got a lot of the positive messaging about Marshalltown on social media and their blogs, and so that was really effective to see. And we just paid for their hotel and gave them a few chamber bucks, and they were on their way. So it was kind of a fun thing to get some third-party messages about Marshalltown out there, as far as not just us saying it, some other people saying it. So yeah. So Marshalltown continues to be a central location for sports. This past year, we've hosted disc golf, USTA tennis, adult softball, volleyball, basketball, swimming. High school swim meet was just this past weekend. It was another successful event in our town. So we try to capitalize on being centrally located in the state for that to happen for lots of different groups. Now John's going to talk a little bit about some occupancy rates.
Yeah, so this last year, one thing we've worked on very hard is trying to get additional data to back up what we believe we're feeling within the tourism space, but trying to get the data to support that. And so we subscribe to the STAR report, STR report. It's an industry standard report that most hotels file on a weekly basis. It talks about occupancy, average daily rate, and a handful of other metrics. And so what it allows us to do is track kind of the month over month, year over year, looking at occupancy rate. So obviously you can see a major dip that happened after August in our community, and that was a result directly of an additional hotel coming onto the market and 79 new rooms. And so we expected to see that dip in hotel occupancy rate. What I'll say is we are very close to, if not surpassing, what we were pre-COVID, and so we are sitting in a good spot for our tourism. It is recouped and come back. One other note on that is our average daily rate is up, and so that is what people are paying for hotel rooms. So that's not unlike most of the market right now, knowing that costs are up. But what that means is additional hotel motel taxes coming in on that higher average daily rate.
A few other things, just economic impact of tourism in our county. $50 million is spent by visitors that have come to our county, so we definitely see the economic impact there, and we work with many of those groups that come in. That picture is at the college. We work with groups that come in the Coliseum, and we're trying to work with more to get the Marshalltown Arts and Civic Center up, getting more groups as well. So we're going to see more groups coming to town for that as well. And where are they coming from? Well, this is we're also subscribing through our statewide association to arrival lists to try to figure out where are these groups coming from. So these are the markets that they're coming from to Marshalltown from. It tracks cell phone. They have to be in town for, I think, at least 4 hours, but it tracks cell phones, and it's some really cool data as far as where they're coming to Marshalltown from, as you can see the Des Moines Ames market, but then we can also dive down to one who's coming from out of state, Omaha market, Chicago market, and Los Angeles popped in there too as well. So that was kind of cool to see. We have that many from Los Angeles coming to Marshalltown. So, and you know, that could be a result of several things. They said the IndyCar races. We also had a lot of big Hispanic concerts over the summer, and that brings people to town. It's also just people traveling to see family as well. So yeah, so we provide quarterly tourism grants to try to promote people coming into town, and also entities to try for capital improvement projects. So the holiday stroll this weekend is a little bit supported by one of these grants. American Legion Golf Course had a bathroom renovation. They bring people into town for state golf, so we definitely wanted to support them. And then you'll see the other ones, recent grant recipients that we do on a quarterly basis to try to keep the momentum of people coming into town. So. And then just a little bit of wrap up, other projects from our office that kind of ongoing. This week in Marshalltown, do a weekly email newsletter that hopefully everybody gets and reads, and maintain the community calendar of events, do a lot of social media, positive messages about Marshalltown, videos, photos, so want to continue that momentum. And then we also do paid advertising through statewide magazines, radio, and everything like that. So I think that's all I had. If you guys had any questions for us.
Any questions? I have to comment about Andrew. When the Court of Appeals came into town and presented actual live Court of Appeals arguments at the high school, well attended by not only Marshalltown High School but other area high schools, you gave a tour to that group, and they really appreciated it. And I got to tag along, and I got to tell you, you really did a phenomenal job.
You did a good job too. The parts that you did accurately, but sometimes you. Sometimes you stretch the truth, but I
still think we have 5 viaducts, truly.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good job. It was fun, yeah.
Thanks. I didn't hear anything about the award ceremony we went to a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Oh, so we were nominated for Technology Community of the Year, and from the Technology Association of Iowa, and the mayor went down with us, and leaders from MECDINE, Emerson, Raycom, the community college, then some chamber board members as well were there. It was a pretty cool event. We did not win, but we were not about 5 nominees, and it was a fun event to be a part of, since we kind of promote the technology aspect of our community, and some cool things going on in here. Esports, the things MECDINE are doing, and some of the other technology going on. So
invited to go back next year and see if we can't take the brass ring home.
Yep, let's do it.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
You bet.
Hey, Andrew and John, can you expand a little bit on the different technologies you're using to track the hotel guests and the visits? I mean, to me, that's very interesting, that how you're pulling this data.
Okay, so the arrivalist ones, that's the service that our statewide association, Travel Iowa, uses, and they promote it, and they give us a deal because we come on board with them. So we're just kind of diving into this stuff. We just kind of got on board with arrivalist, so we're not at that point where we're kind of analyzing it as much, but we're just wanting to show this is kind of the possibility that we can do, and we're going to share with some of our hotel general managers so they can see where people are coming from, where are our markets at, and where do we want to try to continue to kind of focus some of our efforts. So we're still just diving into that, those numbers, the out-of-state ones, and then in that. So that's kind of just at the cusp of that. So yeah.
And then the STAR report is just an industry standard report that we get on a weekly basis. The company STR, they've done it for years, and that's just kind of the standard in the hotel world. All major brands report to the STAR report on a weekly basis, so that's just a helpful data point for us to watch.
Are the local hotel managers reaching out to you when they have some, I don't want to say different, but unusual guests coming through that that it's maybe you need to go out and talk to them?
If we do have big groups, I don't know about unusual, but unusually, yeah, if they have big groups, I'm in contact with the hotel managers, and yeah, we definitely want to welcome them, give them goodie bags, but yeah, I do try to represent Marshalltown, and if there's a big enough group, to try to welcome them, but put them on the sign by Hy-Vee, hey, welcome to this group coming into town. So we do want them to make them feel special, so they'll come back. So yeah.
Other questions or comments about that report?
Just one more.
Okay.
How do you reach out? I mean, is it the same stuff on the goodie bags, or are you going to all chamber members, or putting out an email to that?
Well, certain cases there are chamber member things, but most of it's just Marshalltown related items. It's the Welcome to Marshalltown postcard. It's a Marshalltown cup. It's a Marshalltown pen, or mostly they're just kind of Marshalltown items. Occasionally there'll be instances where we have some chamber or just local businesses that want to donate stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, John.
Anyone else? Okay, good report. Thanks much. All right, on to item G, resolutions. What's the first one of those?
Resolution 2022-305, awarding general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2022A.
I'd entertain a motion to approve first.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. We had 2 bond sales this morning, and Maggie Berger from Spear Financial, who is our city's municipal advisor, is here to go over the results with you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maggie Berger with Spear Financial. In front of you, you have 2 letters we are addressing in this first resolution. The sale of $9,555,000 of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2022A. These are the winning underwriter was First National Capital Markets of Omaha, Nebraska, and that is based on the lowest interest rate. So they came in at a 3.7958%. You can see altogether we had 7 bids. I do want to point out that 7 bids is actually a high number for us over the last few months. Due to rising interest rates, we have really seen the underwriters shying away from bidding just because of the uncertainty in the market. And so we're happy to see that the 7 bids came in today. And we do believe that part of that has to do with what's on page 2 and through about page 6 of your report. That is your Moody's investor rating. So the city did go through its annual rating process ahead of this bond sale. You were reaffirmed at the AA2, which is just 2 notches off of what their perfect AAA score is. In here, we've done some highlighting to talk about some of the positive things you want to draw your attention to. We always draw the attention to factors that could lead to a downgrade of a rating, and that is a large or sustained decrease in available reserves or liquidity. As I've said before, they like cash. So they want to make sure that you always have cash available in case of a delay of receiving property tax dollars. Fully valued, your city has grown on an average annual rate for actual valuation of 5% over the last 5 years, which is really great. And one other thing they point out is that you do keep your debt short in nature, and the fact that in a 10-year principal repayment, 79% of your debt will be repaid by that point in time. We give you, after that Moody's report, a few pages that talk about the actual bid and bidders and what they were able to bid for you. So again, you issuing $9,555,000. They are giving you a small premium. These are not the premiums that you've seen over the last couple of years. We've seen premiums in the amount of $500,000 to $900,000. We're back in that $100,000 to $200,000 range for premiums. The interest rate that this winning underwriter will give you is a 4% down to a 4.2%. Diana can attest that this morning I was very happy to see the 4% rates, as a couple of weeks ago we were seeing 5% interest rates. So these were very acceptable, very happy to see them. Just as a little bit of a dialogue, Diana and I were talking, your last year's bond issue was at about 1.8%. So that is what the markets have done in the last 12 months. The market is not directly tied to the Federal Reserve and interest rate movement in that accord, but indirectly, we do start to see those rates going up. When the Federal Reserve moves about 75 basis points, we've seen these interest rates move about 25 basis points or 1/4%, maybe even 40 basis points. The final payment, the final debt service schedule is the last page of your item, and it is callable. This bond is callable after June 1st of 2030. We always protect you. So at that point in time, if at 2030 interest rates are lower, we will analyze it to see if there's some interest savings for you to refund just what remains. And if not, it's the call is at your option only, so you can just continue to pay on the debt if that's what you so choose. You also could pay some debt off early at that point in time if you had money ahead and were able to pay some of that debt. I'd answer any questions that you have prior to your action on this resolution.
Any questions for Maggie from the council?
Your Honor, not for Maggie, but for City Administrator on this one. This bond, part of this bond is being used for the grant, if we receive the grant. Is that correct?
No. You're referring to the community development block grant? Correct. There is no part of this borrowing that is for that project.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any further discussion other than asking Maggie questions? Up here, out there, anybody in the public like to address this? Let's call the roll.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Very good, that carried. On to the next resolution, when able.
Resolution 2022-306, awarding taxable general obligation property restoration bond, Series 2022B.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
Good evening once again. This is $610,000 of taxable general obligation property restoration bonds. Your bonding attorney at the Dorsey and Whitney firm, they take a look at your project list and they identify items that need to be pulled off and done in a taxable state. And the reason for taxability is it may have some private purpose, or it could be that, you may be doing something and then reselling the property, something to those effects. So when there is that taxability, we usually pull that off. Last year, you did not have any taxable issues on your list, and so that was all done as tax exempt. The difference here, and there was a question before the council meeting, the difference here and why you see the interest rate of 5.0321% on this is the bonds, the interest that is owed to the investors on these bonds, those investors will pay federal income tax on that. The issuance before, they will not pay federal income tax. Those are tax exempt bonds on the 9.5 million, just meaning that every dollar of interest that you pay, someone does not have to report that to income tax, which is a huge benefit. We are recommending that you would award to Northland Securities of Minneapolis, Minnesota at the 5.0321%. Those interest rates they gave you were a 4.8% all the way down. And this is a non-callable issue because we did keep it short in nature. We did only 5 maturities on that. We felt, and it was our recommendation, that had we extended this one out to 10 or 15 years, you would have even seen a higher interest rate. So we try to keep those taxable ones a little bit shorter in nature just so that we can capture what we know will be a higher interest rate, but keep that a little bit lower if possible. I would answer any questions that you have on this.
Any questions up here? Any public comment?
I do have one thing to just make clear on this. So the title of the bond was Property Restoration Bonds, but this is the funding for the Dangerous and Dilapidated Building Program. So that was not in the previous item that was up for consideration. That is this funding.
Thank you. Roll call.
Hoop,
No. No.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
That carried as well. On to the third one.
Resolution 2022-307, approving professional services agreement for rental housing inspection services with Safe Building LLC.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Michelle Sponheimer, Housing Community Development Director. I was before you 2 meetings ago, about a month ago, talking about the plan for our rental inspections program. We kind of followed through to that point. We did put out an RFP. We received 3 proposals. We interviewed 2 different firms and have a recommendation before you to go with Safe Building LLC. So they have experience with rental inspections as well as building, fire, electrical, plumbing, some of those other things as well. And so, but we are, of course, just focused on the rental housing inspections with this particular contract. And so we're recommending approval, authorizing staff to negotiate the terms of the contract. They did submit their fee structures. Those fees will be turning around and implementing a resolution that will come before you in December as we finalize all the process. But we would request that you authorize us to move forward with Safe Building LLC.
Thank you. Council comments or questions?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
Michelle, I'll be voting no, but you know it's just about the outsourcing. It's not about rental inspections or what your department's doing.
Right, understand.
Anyone else up here? Out in the public?
Thank you.
Roll call.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Okay, that one carried as well. When able, what's our next resolution?
Resolution 2022-308, approving a professional services agreement for $653,938 with Bolton and Mink for design services for the reconstruction of East Main Street and portions of Center Street.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, as was discussed kind of through setting up our bonding process, there was the direction to move forward with bringing a contract forward with Bolton and Mink to start on the design of East Main Street from Center Street to 3rd Avenue, as well as Center Street from State Street to Church Street. And so that is what is before you today. That is a bigger project than what we have on State Street in just terms of the number of property owners who will be involved in this project. This is just for the design and getting through the bidding, basically. So we will have the option. It is proposed that the design is completed by around this time next year, and we will know what the bidding environment looks like at that point, as well as where we're at on State Street, and if we're ready to move forward with putting it out for bid at that time. This does not include construction oversight and inspection. We believe that if we can get some people in place that we might be able to take on some of this on our own, but ultimately we have a year to figure this out, but know that that could be one element that would come back to you as an engineering services amendment about a year from now, or when we would be looking to put this out to bid. This involves quite a bit of public engagement with the owners along the corridor, as well as with the general public as well, once there's a preliminary design to talk about. And we do have Greg Broussard with Bolton and Mink here to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions or comments? Public? Roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
That carried on to our next and last.
Resolution 2022-309, setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with Marshalltown Company, including annual appropriation tax increment payments.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion.
Yes, I put this on the regular agenda and not the consent. The council did take an action back in March of this year, basically outlining our intent. We actually held a public hearing in December of last year. Our attorneys have informed us that that does not count. We need to redo that public hearing in order for a development agreement to move forward. Marshalltown Company has stated that they plan to take on another phase of their project with a completion date of December 31st. December 31st of 2025, and that they are intending to complete public infrastructure improvements as a result of that project. And so this proposal is a 10-year agreement not to exceed $2.9 million to reimburse for the cost of infrastructure and for the tax abatement that they would be foregoing on both phases.
Thank you. Questions or comments up here? Comments out there? Roll call.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Very good. That carried. Boy, there was an article about the significant expansion down in Arkansas with that company, and it's fun that they not only put in that 10,000 square foot addition here, they keep on growing. All right, on to item H, ordinances. What's our first one of those?
Ordinance 15053 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 117, Junk Dealers and Pawnbrokers, second reading.
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion? Up here, out there? Roll call?
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
Thompson,
Abstain due to a conflict of interest since I am a vendor.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. And the next and last one.
Ordinance 15054 to repeal Chapter 152 Housing Code of the Municipal Code of the City of Marshalltown, Iowa, and to adopt by referencing the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code with amendments. First reading.
Any motion to approve first?
So moved, Your Honor.
How about a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Michelle Sponheimer, Housing Community Development Director again. So this is related to our last item that we just discussed with the contract. This is adoption of a housing code, new housing code to replace our Chapter 152, which includes adoption by reference of the International Property Maintenance Code. So adopting that standard along with a couple other logistical pieces, I would call them more technical things about our processes in there, replace our entire chapter with the draft proposed ordinance that's in your packet. And so the International Property Maintenance Code is one of the codes that's in the International Code Council series, so similar to our fire code, our building code, residential building code, those kind of things. It's in that series that's used for rental housing standards. It's commonly used in a lot of communities, the IPMC is. And so I feel like this will bring us in line with a number of other communities doing rental inspections programs similar to as we are. For the most part, it's similarly in line with a lot of the things that we're doing. I tried to make a couple amendments that there may have been any kind of question, and some changes such as the state actually has a requirement related to carbon monoxide detectors. We want to make sure that that was reflected different here than what you might see on a national level. So for the most part, I think we'll see that this works well for our community and continues to keep a basic level of health and safety for our rental units. So I recommend approval.
Thank you. Any council discussion? Any public discussion? Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Huff,
Yes.
That carried. On to item I, discussion, and the one item we have on that is the MCBD request for fiscal year 2024 funding.
Good evening, Mayor Greer, council members. Cindy Parks, 127 East Main Street, president of the Marshalltown Central Business District. Thank you for your time, consideration, and again, thank you for your support of MCBD. At the last council meeting, you asked for additional information regarding our $15,000 request for increased operating expenses and support. Besides operating support, there are two major initiatives that we would like to accomplish with these funds. A summer intern co-op student, this would be our second year, $9,000 budgeted toward that. It provides Deb with additional capacity during the summer months.
Also, capacity for continued coordination efforts of the DTR, Downtown Revitalization Project. It also provides her more time to engage with business owners to identify opportunities. An example of that would be we reached out, the MCB did, to the ISU College of Design for engagement with Zamora's. The students provided ideas for design, store layout, marketing, and operating efficiency, all at no cost to them. Additionally, we'd like $3,000 to go to new flower baskets, a walkway refresh, the arrows need updated, and to kickstart a wayfinding project. Furthermore, you presented us with a very big challenge. You asked us what we really needed to accelerate growth in downtown. Great question and very forward thinking of you, and what we should strive for as a community and from our leadership. What we really need is we really need Deb to focus on economic development. We need to recruit and train a volunteer to chair our Economic Vitality Committee to work in partnership with Region 6 and the Chamber of Commerce and the city. We will be able to, we would be able to leverage Main Street Iowa's advanced services such as the Market Study and Strategies program and the Ready to Recruit program. The Market Studies and Strategies program would allow us to develop a roadmap for business opportunities moving through our current efforts, in addition to creating some additional efforts. Identify business gaps and strategies to fill those gaps, and identify current business needs to provide training and support, retention of our current businesses. The Ready to Recruit program is a kickstart for economic development. It helps us identify the new businesses that we want to come to downtown, and it also identifies the types of concepts that would work in our community. In addition, they create and fine-tune recruitment materials and marketing strategies to attract and land those new businesses. The Ready to Recruit program is a proven program with success stories in Story City, Fort Dodge, Marion, Ottumwa, and Waverly. In order to achieve this goal of moving the economic development needle, we felt we needed a year-round support staff for Deb, and that we estimated at $40,000. This would give us a more efficient in the long run and no training and retraining like we would have with the intern student. However, the intern student is necessary to provide community engagement, pride in our community, and help them improve their knowledge of what goes on in a nonprofit. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you would have.
Are there any up here?
Can you offer some examples besides events, like you were talking about business engagement? What does business engagement look like from the CBD currently, and what would it look like with the additional funding?
Right now, Deb has, let me make sure I'm answering this correctly, about an hour of time to engage, talk to businesses, find out what their strengths are, what opportunities they need, what training and support they might need, be it marketing or additional information about getting the word out there. With the additional funding and with even with just the funding during the summer for the summer intern co-op, we're estimating that she'll have an extra 4 hours, so maybe 5 hours a week to go out to businesses, talk to them, engage, make sure we are answering their questions, answering the need that if they have a need, we look to find an answer for that. Does that sound about right? Okay. Any other questions?
Your Honor. Cindy, if we were to fund at a higher level this year, just like we did Impact, the idea there was, we'll get you jump-started. How are you going to find the funds to continue this? Let's say we can't do that at this level year after year after year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys brainstormed? Do you have a plan for are you going to go back to memberships, corporate donors? What if we fund at a higher level this year and we can't do it next year? Do you have a plan to keep all these improvements in place?
Good question. Our plan right now would be to not only engage corporate investment. That's our plan. When you say memberships, right now we call them investors. And I don't think it's a plan to actually say, okay, we're going to do away with investors and go back to members, because it makes more sense to just continually say and have those people that have experienced, like Deb, and the support that we provided, like Zamora's, the design assistance with that. They can go and tell others, yes, I think that's valuable, so we're going to continue to invest, and we think that you should too. So we're hoping that our brand and what we have to give and our support just shows people that, yes, we're worth investing in, instead of saying you can only be a member and investing. So the long and short of that is continuing to grow the downtown businesses so we have more investors there to provide us funds, and to go out with a corporate ask as well for fundraising.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet. Anyone else? Okay. I'm kind of excited about having the chamber move to downtown.
Yes.
And having been involved in the CBD and chamber over the last 30 years, it's fun to watch the synergy and ability to communicate between the two organizations
Yes.
better than I've seen it many
Yes,
years ago.
and I must say, the presentation that John and they put on, it's spectacular. I am very impressed with everything they put out there, how updated and positive it is, and we really look forward to working with them to move the needle on economic development here in downtown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Your Honor,
good.
I would make the
Yes, sir.
motion to give staff direction as a one-year trial to finance the MCBD at $95,000.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I don't want this to come out across as a criticism to the Central Business District, because I do feel like they are an important partner in Marshalltown, and if not for them, there are many opportunities that would have been missed that have really strengthened our rebuilding efforts over the last few years. But I personally would like to see, with that kind of an increase in allocation, some initiatives that we're able to measure against a little bit better than is in this current proposal. What I mean by that is key objectives that are more easily able to have dollars traced to them, with an idea of what the return on investment would be for those things. I do think that when they came to us for an additional $15,000, I had questions then, but I thought they were able to speak to that initial ask. So my recommendation would be to say no to a trial at $95,000, but really consider what they originally asked of us, and awarding them $55,000, and thank them seriously for the conversation and the discussion we've had regarding their opportunities for the future.
Other council comments?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Dex, I don't disagree with your statement as I sit there and think about an agenda item on tonight's of putting almost $700,000 in toward the design of downtown across Main Street and South Center. I'm thinking this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, or Gary's proposal is at. With, if we're serious about that, that means more than what we have from a resource perspective, not only on our side, but to what the downtown looks like in the future, and that's not just roads and sidewalks. So I'm leaning toward, obviously, supporting the ask of what tonight is and where Gary's head's at, and I think we need to realign or evaluate what next year looks like after a year of this being in place, with the hope that they come back with some fruits of the labor that come from it.
Thank you. Anyone else like to weigh in?
Mr. Mayor, is there?
Actually, I'm asking if the council would like to weigh in first. I'll go to the public next.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, if possible from the MCBD, I'd like a little more detail specific to the 3 key items for economic development. I think there's probably a lot more detail and substance there that wasn't conveyed in the memo. So ahead of our next meeting, just to quantify what those activities look like and why they're needed, I think that would be beneficial for all of us. Thank you.
Anyone else up here before we open the mic out there? The public mic is open.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue, Marshalltown resident her whole entire life, as everyone knows up there on the council. I have this question. She mentioned investors. I would like to ask the question, how much do the investors contribute toward this funding? And is all businesses being contacted up in the Main Street area asked to become members, investors, or whatever she's calling it? I think it's a fair question to know when it's our tax dollars, that we are coming across. I think we all agree we would like to have Uptown better. But I myself have personal things of my own that I would like better, but I have to live within my means. So I would ask those questions to be considered, please. What are the other investors contributing? Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Good evening, Nate McCormick, 1704 Robertson Drive. I'm the past president of the MCBD and currently involved with the Economic Development Committee for the MCBD. So, I think it's a great question. There is tons of detail. Each of those programs that we talked about is a well-developed program run from the Iowa Economic Development and part of the Main Street Iowa program and actually the Main Street Americas program. So certainly we can provide some detail about what those programs involve. But I think, Gary's comment there of, can we do this for 1 year, $40,000 and sustain it going forward? And I think that's a big ask. And it would take substantial growth and development in the downtown and substantial contribution from the downtown building and business owners and downtown community and the community at large to cover that kind of a gap. And it's certainly not, I don't think it's reasonable to get there in a year. That's probably where we're at. But what it would do is these programs, both the market analysis and Ready to Recruit, are big time upfront efforts that then we can hopefully sustain over the course of a period of several years. And so I do think even if we only can run for a year or two, depending on the council and where things land, I do think if we can get the leadership in place, the community volunteer leadership out of the downtown, and put the programs in place, I do think we've got a chance at really accelerating and sustaining that development over the longer term. Because those programs are things that you kind of can get going, and then you build out your needs and your asks and the details kind of that you guys are looking for with, hey, here's the numbers, here's the initiatives, here's how we're going to measure them, here's the targets. Those are the outcomes. When we start talking about that Ready to Recruit program, that's what they build, right? They build, here are the things you need to do. Here's how you measure the results. Here's how you get the businesses to come in. That's part of that process, right? So while it'd be very difficult, I think, for us to sit up here without running through that whole process and say, here's the numbers, here's the ROI. But that's what we got to try to get to. And that's what those programs are built to do. So we can definitely provide some details around that. The other comment I just wanted to say quickly, we do reach out to every downtown building and business owner every year to be an investor in our program. That the level of investment and the number of people that do that every year fluctuates. We fundraise, even the current, if we just looked at the current city contributions, we fundraise 3/4 of our budget every year. Rough numbers. So it is a very substantial effort by the organization and by the community, because most of those donations, the vast majority of those donations come from the community at large. So it's really the community behind the organization. But again, it would be a huge ask to go out and say, hey, we're going to try to fundraise another $40,000 for this for 1 year. I mean, that's not something that's going to happen from a pure fundraising standpoint. So hence the ask for the council tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Your Honor, if I could just make one more comment, please.
You may.
When we funded Impact, there wasn't a plan. I mean, there was a plan.
We had a plan.
They had a plan, but they had no data to, it was a leap of faith for this council, and it proved successful. And it's been almost 4.5 years since the tornado. There's going to be a lot of construction downtown. We're not going to be able to communicate with all the business owners. We need an arm to do that for us and continue to rebuild the downtown. I think this is a fair use of local option sales tax. That's why I made the motion. So thank you.
Thank you.
I have a creative idea for you on how to raise money.
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive, co-founder for Splash for Life. One of the things that was on the table for us was we wanted to promote art in the parks, that kind of thing. And a creative idea that we had was that came to us from another community member was a walk of fame. Okay, so Mayor Greer, can I pick on you? Okay.
Everybody else does. Join the crew.
Okay. Think of the Hollywood Walk of Stars, okay? You come in and we create a star, and for you, maybe it's a star with a plane, because you're a pilot, okay? And then with the technology piece that we have that Andrew brought up earlier, we had the little, I don't know what they're called, but the little things that you put in there and you scan it, and then it gives a history. Yes, QR cards. Thank you very much. But that gives the ability to bring through the history of Marshalltown. And with those, you sell some of those stars. Okay, sign me up for a $200 star, okay? And some of that construction that's going on where it's destroying our sidewalks and stuff, we now have a Marshalltown Walk of Fame. And we're getting some money. We need that $40,000. We have history. We have artistic stuff. So there you go, guys.
Anyone else from the public like to comment? The survey reminded me, by the way, of the chamber about 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago. Knowing anecdotally that we didn't have enough housing here, but they funded they did find the funding to do the housing survey, and it came back absolutely, yes, we have a need. And then it was redone again about the time of the tornado, and we've got a lot of housing permits taken out now that we never expected, that maybe never would have happened without that. Anyway, I imagine, well, anybody else like to speak before we call a roll call? Roll call it is.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Very good. Staff has direction on that. The second time that's happened in the history of my 10 years here. Thank you.
Your Honor, I just want to say, if you want to give me $200, I will put your name on a marker and put it in my backyard.
I sold the plane. I want to come up with a new idea, but okay.
Doesn't have to be a plane. It can be anything you want.
There you go. Well, a flying pig. We've got a collection of flying pigs, actually. All right. Time for public comment. And I have to read this proviso to everybody. Members of the public may make comments on any item that was not on the agenda. The speaker has to approach the mic, state your name and address, limit your comments to 3 minutes unless longer is authorized by the mayor. Direct the comments to the mayor and council as a whole, and the mayor and councilors shall not engage in discussion or debate on these items by members of the public, and no action may be taken on them. Otherwise, we might we might find ourselves in violation of the open meetings laws. With that said, the microphone is open for public comment.
Okay, I'm Deb Millizer. I'm the director of the Marshalltown Central Business District, and I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to say that it has been a complete joy working with David Deemer as he's worked with us to put up the lights and the wreaths in the downtown. Heather's crew has been absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate the partnership. So I just wanted to say that I think you made a great choice, hiring choice with David. He's done wonderful. They put the wreaths out today, and the volunteers that helped him today, so that he was just delightful and has a can-do attitude. So I just wanted to comment that I appreciate all the hard work and the partnership with the city to decorate our downtown. It may seem like a little thing to some people, but it's really a big thing for our aesthetics in the downtown. So thank you.
Before you go, I've been waiting for somebody to mention maybe there's an event coming up pretty soon.
Yes, this is a stressful week for me because we have the holiday stroll. It's stressful because I just want it to be perfect as much as possible. We have people pulling together to get everything lined up. The holiday stroll is technically from 4 to 8 o'clock, but with the rededication in the downtown of the courthouse, it starts at 1 o'clock for the rededication of the courthouse and 2 o'clock for some of the stroll events, such as the Christmas craft fair that's at the Coliseum. Starts at 2 o'clock.
And the day of the week?
Saturday.
Saturday. Thank you.
So yes, I hear it's going to be a little cold, but it's Iowa. We know how to bundle up and still have a good time. And you can go in the stores, and I would say chill out, but that's the opposite of what I want you to do. Go warm up. Maybe you don't shop that night, but come back and pick up some things. So, you can shop that night too. Just come back and pick up some things.
Saturday, November 19, and we've had it cold before. That hasn't been.
Yeah, I'm a little spoiled though. All of the strolls that I've been involved in has been very, very nice. So I've been kind of just like banking on that. But now I'm wondering what coat and scarf I'm going to wear.
There you go.
So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Chief.
Mike Tupper, Marshalltown Police Department. So the first thing I want to say is, as everybody knows, on November 4th, we had a tragic car crash in our community. And I just want to thank the first responders for all of the work that they put in that night. I responded to the scene, and I was very thankful and impressed with all the work that was being put forth by law enforcement, EMS, fire. Everybody worked very hard to do the best they could in very difficult circumstances. And since that time, we've been putting in a lot of time and work into an ongoing investigation. And you've heard me say it before, we've got a great police department. I can't say it enough. I know you don't want me to say it anymore. We don't have enough cops. Okay, our cops are overworked and underpaid, and we need to fix that. But I'm very thankful for the work that they put in on November 4th, and I appreciate the work that they put in every day, quite honestly. They do a great job. So I want to remind the community about snow, maybe 1 to 3 inches tomorrow. So about a week ago, I think it was about a week ago, Robert, you published my article about winter weather reminders. And then this morning, we put out a press release about snow ordinance parking reminders. Another public information item will go on social media tomorrow morning about snow ordinance parking reminders. We're doing our very best to remind the public, like we do every year, to try to educate the public about the rules. We will be strictly enforcing the snow ordinance as soon as the Public Works Director calls for a snow emergency, and that will require us to issue citations we don't want to write and tow vehicles we don't want to tow. But every year people kind of ignore us. So we would just ask the public, if you live on a snow route, and you can tell if you live on a snow route because there's a red and white sign that says you live on a snow route, plainly posted, please get your vehicles off the street when it's snowing. And quite frankly, even if you don't live on a snow route, if you can park off street when it's snowing, that makes the life of the plow driver much, much easier and safer. So we always appreciate that. But if you live on a snow route, please get them off. So, and then one thing I just want to update you on. I think it was last March, I came to you and requested permission to order police vehicles. We ordered one from Jensen Ford and one from another vendor, and that's escaping me right now, but that vehicle showed up. As of today, Jensen Ford has not been able to fulfill our order for the vehicle that we ordered from them. We ordered in March. Typically, we would have that vehicle by September-ish. It's not here. Jensen told me today it's not going to happen. So that's a big deal for us. We need that car in the baddest way. And so we're trying to figure out Plan B, but what you should know, like police officers being, there's a shortage of police officers all over this country. There's a shortage of police vehicles all over this country. The State Patrol just had a very large police vehicle order canceled by Dodge. And I'm told from the Ford vendor that Ford is no longer taking orders for 2023 models. In fact, they're not sure they'll be able to fulfill the orders that they have taken. And they're not sure what's going to happen in 2024 with police vehicles. So we're going to try to figure out a Plan B. The other news that you need to be aware of, police vehicle costs are going up between $6,000 and $8,000 per unit. Okay, so we don't have enough money in our CIP budget to deal with those types of cost increases. So I will be coming back and asking for more money. And it's very difficult for us to do our job without those vehicles. And we've been, maybe it was a mistake on our part, but we've been trying to get by with just 2 cars a year. And that kind of catches up to us with maintenance issues. And now that we may go a year plus without a car that we've ordered, we may need a couple years where we need 3 cars instead of 2. So I'm sorry to give you that bad news, but in the interest of transparency, I thought you should know what's going on. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address this?
To address his issue?
Any issue?
His issue, any issue?
Any issue that wasn't on the agenda?
Yeah, I have one that I want to address, but I would like to make a comment about that. Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. Yes, we need police vehicles in the city. And I would suggest maybe we talk with Carl from Carl Chevrolet. Possibly he could help with that situation. Now, I have my issue. Everyone knows that I am a historian, that I care a great deal about Marshalltown and our history. 73 years ago, our Marshalltown own Dale Paulin starred in his own movie, It's a Small World, at our historic theater. It has been said that after January 1, Dr. Schutte will be in charge of that theater, and it was stated that it will be a welcome center, and as I understood, a welcome center to get people to come to school here. I would like people to remember the historic value of that Orpheum Theater. I want it to stay. There have been many smaller towns, when we're always comparing, they have saved their theaters. We have our theater that has a great deal of history that can be documented. Dale Paulin was spokesperson for Lennox Industries, which was saved in 2018, and he needs to be recognized and remembered. There were artifacts and friends of the Orpheum Theater that had put gold name tags, and Mr. Paulin was one of them, in the theater. And I was in attendance when they had the celebration of his movie and showed it at the Orpheum Theater. And I believe he was around 90 then. But I do not want all of our historic ties to be gone. And that is right there on Main Street. It is part of our history. And I don't want him to be forgotten. He has 2 books at the Marshalltown Library that was misfiled, and I made that known to the director this evening. He also donated a DVD of that movie, It's a Small World, to the public library. They do not have it. And I want us to keep our historic value. And I hope Dr. Schutte, I was told that he's doing things at the high school, will please remember that theater was here and a lot of famous people appeared. He starred in that movie with Will Geer. And so I don't want the man forgotten. So that's what I would like to let everyone know publicly. His 93rd birthday, he received over 343 birthday wishes. And there's a lot of people in Marshalltown that love him and know him. And his stuff was donated to the Marshalltown Historic Society in 2010. So I don't want the man forgotten. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, at 6:54 p.m. we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.